demographic data only scratches the surface. Are you still creating demography based personas? Do you know that behavioral personas are becoming secret weapon for most of the successful experienced designers? Hello everyone, welcome to Design Tales. I understand as experienced designers, they need to juggle between customer value versus business value. On one hand, they need to increase the productivity and efficiency of the users or engage them meaningfully on the platform they are designing or help users with saving their time and so on and so forth. On the other hand, they need to also show value to business by improving sales or increasing engagement or improving conversion rate or increasing the number of returning users. To do this successfully, behavioral personas play a critical role by understanding deeper level needs and creating meaningful experiences for the users, and by which creating differentiator for the businesses. So what is it that we'll cover today? So first we'll look at very high level description of personas and benefit of creating one. Then we'll look at different components of user personas. Then we'll also deep dive into what is behavior and behavioral based personas. So let's deep dive in. So let's first look at a very brief introduction of a persona and what is the benefit of creating one. A persona is essentially detailed description of imaginary individual who represent certain characteristics of a particular user segment within your target audience. Basically, personas are given name, demographics, background, and also certain attributes which make them more relatable and tangible. So when you create demography based personas, you segregate these personas based on age. For example, you differentiate personas based on the user segment of 18 to 25 or 25 to 40 or 40 to 60 and 60 and above. Versus you create and differentiate user segments by location. For example, user segment from metro cities versus tier 2 or tier 3 cities or even the rural area. So when I say stop creating demography based personas, I am not saying those are not helpful. I am just saying that with the increase in digital media and continuously changing behavior and the expectations of users, we need to change certain artifacts and the way we approach design. So what is the benefit of defining these personas? So when we create personas, businesses can create business strategies by identifying right user segment and then defining the right problem for them and then creating business strategies. Marketing team can create marketing strategies by mapping those strategies with user segments, needs and expectations. Product managers can create product strategies and designers can create meaningful experiences by empathizing and understanding with users deeply. So basically, when we create personas, they create consistency across teams, stakeholders and products. Now that we have looked at a very brief introduction of persona and what is the benefit of creating one, let's move ahead and look at what are the different components of the persona. For that, let's take an example of young solo traveler persona and let's start defining different components and let's understand one by one. The first component, and which is the most important component of a persona, is imagery, because it gives life to your persona and it also represents the target audience as close to reality. After imagery, the next thing is a biography or a description of a user which makes it relatable for the product context. For example, in this case, if we are creating the persona for a young solo traveler, then biography considers the age, location, professional background, values, desires, or very high level traveling pattern. It is also important to add a quote in the persona which summarizes the uniqueness of a particular user segment in just one statement. This also helps in creating a value proposition of the product easily. The next important component is user goals. This helps with defining the desired outcome of the user on the product. So for example, here there are certain goals are articulated for this particular persona. Then the next component is pain points. Pain points really help in deciding the focus areas, which helps in mapping the experiences and product capabilities together. So in this case, there are few pain points. For example, feeling insecure and concerned about personal safety, or difficulty in finding affordable and safe single occupancy, so on and so forth. So basically, when we define pain points in the persona, it makes our job easy to create certain focus areas within product and create the priorities as well. Then the next component, which is expectations of a user. This helps designers and product team members understand the desired outcomes, needs and preferences of the user. So for example, in this case, there is safety and security, value for money, suitable food options, safe local transportation. So this immediately gives us high level scanning of expectations, which helps us in mapping those expectations with the kind of product features we have or the kind of experiences we design. So now the last component, which is motivators. This gives us clarity of why they do what they do. So we've looked at a lot of other things. So this defines why behind everything. In the case of solo traveling, what motivates them to travel solo is freedom, exploration, self-discovery, networking or making connections, so on and so forth. So now we have looked at all the components of personas. Let's move on and look at what is the behavior and what are behavioral personas. So the behavior in the context of product usage is what user do while they interact with any product, service or experiences. And it completely depends upon what is the context and scenario. Basically, same person behaves differently in different scenario. For example, if a person goes for a dinner with family versus friends, that person behaves very differently in both the settings. Or if you are hungry and if you open the Swiggy app, the way you would order versus if you are curating menu for a special party will be very different. So the same person in both the scenarios will behave very differently. For example, if that person is hungry, for that person, the most important thing is the time it will take to deliver. That person will choose all the restaurant options which are nearby and also find something to eat accordingly. Versus if that person is curating a menu for a special party, that person will go through all the reviews, ratings, compare different menus, compare different restaurants, how much time will it take to deliver, and if they can deliver the large quantity. And based on that, that person will place the order. So basically, same person will behave differently in different contexts, and that's when we really need to create these behavioral personas based on different scenarios. So basically, behaviors can be intentional or unintentional. It could be conscious or unconscious, and it could be influenced by certain internal factors like thoughts, emotions and beliefs, or external factors like environmental or social influences. So now we know what is behavior. Let's go ahead and understand what are behavioral personas and how to define one. As we know by now, behavioral personas go beyond traditional demographic personas, which is not limited by age, gender, location or profession, but it really goes beyond and defined based on different data points and research methods such as primary and secondary data, qualitative and quantitative data. At the same time, different research methods like one-on-one interviews, in-depth study of entire data analytics, observational studies, etc. If you really want to know more about different data gathering types and different research methods, I'll drop a link in the description section below. You can just have a look at those. Now coming back, just some time back, we had understood the different components of personas, and while doing that, we understood a persona of young solo traveler. Now let's take the same persona and add different behavioral patterns and behavior into that, and now the persona looks like this. So if you see on the top right corner, I have added different behavioral patterns, and at the bottom right, I have added few behaviors. So now if you see, these are very high level patterns and behaviors, just to give you an example. But if you really create these personas based on research, it will go beyond 10 to 12 behaviors each personas. So once you define these behaviors well, it can really make your life easy in the entire design process next. If you use these behaviors in the entire experience journey map and plot these behaviors, it can really give you good amount of direction while creating entire journey and also add certain insights there. You can also create a very effective information architecture and navigation strategy based on these behaviors. Product managers can also use these behaviors to define certain capabilities for the product. So there are multiple benefits of creating behavioral based personas. So this is it for today. So if you really see value in the entire information, do press the like button, subscribe to my channel, also share with your friends and family or whoever needs this information. Comment in the section below if you have any doubts, if you have any questions. Also, if you need any help, share your experiences and learnings as well based on this information. And thank you for being with me till now, and see you next time. Bye bye.